Alright. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We've got Storm Gaming's MAXPAX in the top right side of the map playing best of 3 semi-finals here in the Pigosaur Mondays 25 against Liquid's Cure in the bottom left side. So Cure, obviously a fantastic Terran player, formerly a few years ago known for being just an absolute god of this matchup, and it is usually his best matchup, but he's playing against MAXPAX, and MAXPAX has been unstoppable lately. Cure has been running into a brick wall with both Clem and MAXPAX recently. Clem, of course, playing Protoss as well and doing exceptionally well, only occasionally dropping a series. There was one series where Cure did trounce him, right? There was that one, I think it was a larger online tournament, right? There was the finals where Cure just kind of rolled right through. I can't remember if it was a Kung Fu Cup or something else, but either way, so he did get a big win against Clem, which was really nice, because Clem, I think he's very good, but he doesn't quite have the range of MAXPAX. Like, MAXPAX will mix in a 3-gate. He will mix in a 4-gate blink. You know, he will, as much as he loves his 3-gate blink robo standard play, he's, I'd say, a little bit more varied than Clem, who is really just a guy who does almost the exact same thing every single game in PvT, and he still is beating almost every Terran player in the world. But I am hoping that we can get Cure back to his form of yesteryear. He's not the multitasking god that some other players are. So if Cure gets himself in a really bad position, it's going to be hard to dig out of there, but he's got incredible macro. His builds are usually very, very tight, and that's where his strengths lie. So if he can just navigate the first 6-7 minutes of the game in a pretty good spot, you'd be surprised just how much stuff he can build and how confidently he will push through his opponents. Cure was, of course, one of the OG guys alongside Clem back around 2020 who popularized a sort of TVP that didn't really care too much about scouting what the Protoss was doing. It was more like, I'm going to play Biomine and add ghosts, and I'm going to push both sides of the map while continuing to expand. And I think there's this constant expansion that both Clem and Cure got known for while just being active with their armies, where it used to be a Terran was either macroing or he was kind of trying to go all in and kill you. And it was Cure and Clem back then, 4 or 5 years ago, who really said, hey, why not both? I can expand and attack at the same time, and really showed how to assert map control. And I think that was when we kind of saw the movement, because 2018, 2019, you know, Maru was doing well versus Protoss, but not many other players were, especially in Korea. And he was all about timing attacks. He was all about throwing crazy cheeses in, doing big SCV pools, Viking ghost timings, all sorts of just, you know, nice attacks to finish off the Protoss. But Cure and Clem managed to do what would look almost always like a very normal build. It would arrive with a very fierce intent and put the Protoss on the ropes very quickly. Stalker's almost out. Reaper could get a probe perhaps. Goes for the gas probes, which are usually the ones that are very hard to finish off because they are obviously protected whenever they're inside the refinery. And Stalker comes out. That Reaper will back away from the base. Meanwhile, Double Adept shading forwards. Hellion and Marines stay behind the wall off there for safety. Oh, wow, okay. Hellion does have 6 range, guys. Adept only has 4. Marine has 5. You do get +1 range inside a bunker, which is why a Marauder in a bunker has 7 range. Goes from 6 to 7. All right, there's going to be a 3-gate Robo here to start the series, so MAXPAX just playing very standard. Doesn't need to build a pylon right now. Normally it's 3 gates, Robo, and then you build a pylon. Often up in the main for production space. There it is. He's tight. Man, it's so funny, because I try to pay attention to this as someone who, like, wants to learn to improve and copy the builds of the best and all that sort of stuff. But, he cancels the shade, but he's still getting chased. MAXPAX, you got to get out of here, mate. Uh-oh. These Adepts getting jumped on. The double Hellion commitment is quite rare for Cure. Cure doesn't do the fancy micro, you know. If that was Clem, right, he would have pulled that Hellion back. Cure, he's not going to focus on those, like, 0.1% micro details, but he's not missing meals at the same time. He's building SCVs constantly. You know, Cure, I really feel like when I look at his priorities in-game, it's something that I can learn so much from it. Oh, wow, I didn't even see this till now. There's a 3rd command center at the bottom of his main. He's made this look a lot like a normal build. But rather than committing to, like, the drops and things that would normally be coming in the next 30 seconds to a minute, he's just going to chill at home, make tanks, make Marines. On this 3 ranks, he skipped the starport. Oh, Hellion, can he block it? He could have blocked that, maybe. Would have been nice if he moved up, because if you stop him placing the Nexus and kill the probe, he's got to run a new one over. Just wastes about 30 seconds of build time. 3rd Nexus on the way. I mean, MAXPAX, has he lost anything? Just 1 probe, 2 Adepts. The 2 Adepts does matter, because it loses him vision, and he has no idea what he's up against. Now, this building wall off, I would say, is not great, guys. Remember, you do want to build that building wall over here so your tank can be a bit more protected. Whereas, as it is, if he blinks up, he could run on that tank and get it, which is why you need so many Marines rallied into this main base. Second tank, though, if it comes out and sieges nearby, it will help it keep it safe. He's going to siege it on the natural. Okay. Doesn't want to get busted on the natural. No SCV spotter out front here for Cure. Very defensive, that siege tank, by the way. Some Stalkers can hit the bunker without getting hit, but naturally, some of the ones as they arc in will get hit by it. Ooh, Marines under tank there, looking very solid. Happy to lose a few Marines to get these Stalkers out of this base, especially with how much damage you're doing to them. All those Stalkers taking a bruising, and I think that was for 3 Marines. Yeah, 3 Marines go down. Observer comes in. Starport goes down behind it. Very organized build for Cure. One thing he's missing is... Oh, no, he does. I was going to say he doesn't have upgrades, but he's got +1 on the way. And I don't think a Forge has begun upgrading. I was going to say I don't think a Forge has started it. The Forge is there with the Twilight, so charge and +1 will be next. MAXPAX just a bit gas-starved right now. He's on 3 gases. Third base is saturating, though. He's only up 2 workers, though, which is kind of incredible. He hasn't found any damage, and Q is just not missing a beat on his macro. As I said, he did miss about 5 seconds of SCV production, but he queues up 3 more. He's got 3 orbitals dropping mules. +1 weapons, 5 barracks as well. Stalkers come in. I mean, they take out an SCV, but these Stalkers are all heavily wounded. It does feel like MAXPAX hasn't really found any purchase in this game. He's... You know, he's got the 3rd. He's going charge. We'll see Sentry. He's already got a 4th gas. He's going 8 gateways, which means the Robo Bay will go down the moment he hits 150 gas, which... Oh, apparently he'd already queued it up. So Colossus is going to be hitting about what? I guess like 7:45. Will the first Colossus hit the field? That should be in time to stop the first medevac stim push. Well, how many tanks is it? 3. 3 siege tanks. He's swapping to mine production, medevac production. And he's got an extra reactor building. So it is going to be 3 tech labs, 2 reactors. Q is not going for the 4 tech lab play. 4 tech labs is a little bit easier to micro, but it's a bit weaker to heavy zealot. Oh, Marines don't have shields yet. Gotta be careful pushing out into these Stalkers. Stalkers taking a bit of a tax there. MAXPAX going for a 4th base behind as well. He's got a Prism getting ready now, so he's going to get his Zealots ready. This is something you know MAXPAX is going to do pretty much every game. Ooh, Stalker's getting himself a tank, but does lose a Stalker for it. It's not completely free. Still a great trade. Now this is where MAXPAX, he leaves a Zealot. He's going to click that in the 3rd on its own. He's going to drop the main, but you know that this is coming, and that's why Cure is prepared for it. Oh my gosh. Dude. Okay. Prism flies away. MAXPAX reactions are good. He's getting a 2nd Forge. That first Colossus is not on the field yet, but it will be shortly. He's getting really far forward on the map, which could be nice to just force some stims, run away. You just don't want to stand and fight, which is why having the Sentries and the Immortal might be a bit of an overcommitment. If it was just Zealot Stalker, it's easier to run away. He hallucinates an Archon. I don't think he should commit to the fight, though. MAXPAX commits in like a mad dog. Even drops force fields. What was that? Wow. Am I watching MAXPAX or Hero, guys? Oh, he really wanted to get in with Zealots at the same time, but that always should have been a fake with his main army. The moment he saw Q's army stem, he should have just pulled away. And it would have been fine, but he goes for a fight like a mad dog. Warp Prism going in towards the main base right now. Zealots trying to pull away, but uh-oh. He's going to get caught if he's not watching. Gonna lose 2 Zealots there. 3. Oh, good. I like the way Q moved forward and tagged the 3rd Zealot. Biotank moving north. There's not enough meat there to deal with this right now. Zealot drop's going to come in, but Q has handled things so well. Double Widow Mine takes out the Prism. I didn't even see those Widow Mines. They were hidden behind the refinery. The Bio up north trying to just overwhelm. Dude, is he just going to run on top of the Colossus? Oh my gosh, if he gets the Colossus, it's huge. Colossus barely survives, but only for now. There's no battery there to heal it. Meanwhile, still got this counterattack on the right side. That Colossus is in the open. He's going to try and just shove on top. That single Zealot holding the choke point like a champion. But no more Warpins. Where's the other Warpins? They just don't exist. The Colossus goes down. Zealots are in the middle line of the 3rd base right now. They're going to take out a few Marines. And oh my lord, big Warpin in the main. He's got to pick up a get out. He's going to take out quite a few probes. But he saves, oh my gosh, almost everything gets saved there. And look at that, even drops in this little corner being a nuisance. Maybe an overcommitment, but if he can kill a bunch of Stalkers, might be okay. Gets 3 Stalkers there and still saves a bunch of the units. Wow. I don't know if the dead space in this corner of this map is actually somewhere you can hide this drop. And no, the Reddit Point Colossus. Oh, Q realizes. Turns around, unloads on top of that. I do think, like I said, yeah, I don't think you can hide in the corner on this map, guys. Yeah, Stalkers can reach you. He forgot this map. You can't just sit there. He will lose the medevacs, but at least he got the Colossus for it. Q has got momentum in this game. There is a 4th base up, though, so if MAXPAX can just calm down and stabilize things, he could be okay, but he's only got 1 Colossus out. +2's almost finished. This Colossus needs to do good work. And, oh, he drags the Widowmine into the center of his Zealots. Both Widowmines land really big there. The Colossus landing some good hits, though. I think giving this 4th up might be the call for MAXPAX. He's trying to defend it. Kua just pushing forward, setting up a nice big arc of bio. He's going to do yet another stim, increasing the movement speed and firing rate of the Marines and Marauders. They are doing good damage. MAXPAX trying to hold on that Zealot, that Colossus there with the Zealot warp and trying to hold, but with his tanks now in range as well. It looks like the bio position is just too strong. That Colossus gets a tank shot on it. It is almost gone. It pulls back. Zealots on the other side getting cleaned up. They did kill 9 SCVs, but killing 9 SCVs is nothing compared to losing your 4th base, and another Colossus goes down. Kua just playing so friggin' decisive and focused in this game. Cleaned up all the counterattacks. He played really safe. It's so rare that we see someone play this like kind of 3cc, but he cleaned up those 2 adapts early. MAXPAX doesn't play sentry, so he is, he should in theory be vulnerable to people who rush 3rd command centers because he doesn't know that they've rushed a 3rd command center. If they can disguise it. Like, MAXPAX almost never opens sentry. It's one of his big weaknesses is there's really fast tank all-ins you can do that he's weak to, and there's really greedy builds that he also, in theory, should be weak to. We just never see it work out, but seems like Q has found a way now as he picks up his army, goes for the Doom drop up here. Bit of a mad dog move. And the Colossus, in a bit of a dangerous spot, but I don't think you want to unload there, not with the Colossus and Zealot Warping so nearby. He's just going to regroup, though. It allows him to move his tanks and mines forward to the front. And that's going to be nasty. Oh, the Colossus are exposed. Marauders too fast. Without any Zealot Warpins, one Colossus does get focused down. That Widowmine still has not fired there. Another Colossus is there. He could click on it at any moment with those Marauders. On the other side, another drop comes in. Looks like those guys did get hammered. Widowmines land at the same time. Another Colossus goes down up north. Widowmine does a fair bit of friendly fire to the Medivacs, but will that even matter? He's going to pick up and go drop the main again. MAXPAX has no income. I mean, you don't even need to beat the army head-on anymore. You could just basically rebuild. You're on 4 base. He's on 2 bases that are barely mining. MAXPAX at half the army supply as well. He's going to have to tap out. Cure. Overwhelming in game 1. All right, a rough game 1 for MAXPAX, but he's now aware of the 3rd command center threat. I don't think you can use that trick twice. Cure in the bottom left now of ley lines. Up 1 game, he's got some room to breathe. It is sometimes when you're up a game against a guy who's heavily favored against you, where you just kind of go, hey, I'm going to go build 4 barracks outside your base and go for a Marine SCV all in or something like that, do a little bunker push. MAXPAX, he's known for gate scouting pretty much every game. Very rarely plays no scout. Never goes Nexus before Cybercore. So greed in PvT, not really something that he knows the meaning of. It's interesting because he is one of the better players at just chronoing those adepts across the map, being active with them. And I got to say, as a Terran player, it does make the early game feel much less free. Right, if a Protoss player never goes core first and chronos adepts, it really does. Oh yeah, he's doing what I said. He's doing what I said, guys. Oh no, this is eBay block. Oh, I thought he was going to proxy a second barracks. It's an eBay block. Was this a gas first, guys? This looks like a gas first. So gas first plus engineering bay block allows you to get a nice quick factory before command center. You probably go command center on the high ground as well. And MAXPAX, he's going to have to take a 3rd, which I don't know if he cares about because MAXPAX never scouts for the eBay block. I always scout for it. I hate having to have my natural on my 3rd base, MAXPAX, he just kind of usually is just do it. And I gotta say, so it's interesting. I don't know how he decides what to do. If I see gas first, what I do is obviously chrono out 3 gateway units, right? Adept, Stalker, Stalker probably. You could go 2 Adepts and then a Stalker, but I think, yeah, basically 3 gateway units, at least 1 Stalker, but probably 2 Adepts first. And then the question is, do you build battery in the main and battery in the 3rd, or just one of those? Because Hellions is the big threat off a gas first, right? Quick reactor, quick factory. Gonna swap those over. They almost always build 2 Hellions off this. You never know how much more they're gonna commit, but they absolutely could dive with 6 Hellions or something like that. Now the engineering bay gets cancelled. That refunds most of the minerals, and Q is actually gonna go for the expansion. Brave. I guess he has faith in those Hellions to be so early that even if he loses a bit of building time on this command center, the Hellions will kill that early adept if it hangs around for too long. And MAXPAX is going to shade across this map because of course he is. He's going to play it super safe as well. Double adept into shield battery. 2 chronos so far on the gateway. I think 2 chronos probably enough. So part of me says, hey man, make a 3rd chrono as well. Use the first 50 energy here. Just try and make even 4 gateway units as quickly as possible because you can get out the more the merrier. Stalker. Stalker. Oof. He's supply blocked for a moment here. This Nexus being delayed does hurt. Third gateway unit is being delayed. Adept comes in, sees the Hellions, but the Shade gets inside the base. I wouldn't have minded a snap recall there. I think he's already used the energy though. And that Adept's just going to kill one SCV. Damage a Hellion slightly, which of course Cure, he wants to get across this map, so he's going to quick repair. And then he's going to go across with 4 Hellions. All right, sick. Second gateway, you can see, is a little delayed. It goes down about the 3-minute mark, or just after that. Adept on the front though. You got to be careful, man. Losing an Adept in this scenario is awful, because now you've only got 1 gateway unit. This Stalker was already delayed. He's you know, you can see he's chronoing the Cybercore. He's got this Adept out front, and he's like, oh god, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? He has a shield battery here. No shield battery in the main, remember, which is actually, he's so lucky this isn't going into his main base. And Hellions are going to kill a worker. Does he have recall available? He does not. Uh-oh. He's got to get rid of one of these Hellions to take away lethality. Hellions looking for the big boom boom. No shield battery in the main. He's already lost 4 probes. It's going to be more. And finally, the Hellions lose lethality, but second volley will still take these probes down. 7 workers going down. Make it 8. And that's pretty damn valuable. I think for 4 Hellions, that's a very good start, especially with the amount of mining time and distraction that was in there. Most players will pull off gas here and then take a quick third. MAXPAX is not most players. He realizes gas is really important for all the standard things he wants to go for. But what I really like Astrea's, you know, ability to bounce back from damage like this. I think MAXPAX, the problem, I don't know if it's a problem. The problem I see with him when he takes damage is that he just does the exact same thing as normal. And he just tries to, like, outplay his opponent. Like, there's no pivot strategically in terms of, okay, I'm going to focus more on minerals. I'm going to do this or that. He's just going to run in, see if he can get an SCV or 2. Gets an SCV, but oh my gosh. Oh gosh. 1 SCV for an Adept and a Stalker. That's not a good trade. That looked a little more desperate than normal. He does get the 3rd Nexus now. Okay, he's sped the 3rd Nexus up a little bit. And don't get me wrong, pulling off gas in the main's a bit wild because it's your only gas right now. And you do really need gas as a Protoss player, especially if you haven't got a 3rd and 4th. Which by now, oh, he's going to go 3rd and 4th gas. Okay, so he's playing this where he's like, look, you got ahead last game. I overcommitted to aggression, didn't find anything. This time I'm going to rush for the Colossus. This is way faster than the Colossus in the last game, despite taking a bunch of early game damage. So MAXPAX is pivoting quite hard here. So I take back what I said. Yes, he's not going for like a mineral heavy comeback. He's not exploding into the economy, but he hasn't missed a beat in his probing, hasn't been supply blocked. He's not, you might think, oh, he's going to get close to supply block. No, this Nexus will finish at the perfect timing as he hits about 60, 62 supply. Which is great. And then he can go into Colossus, charge, and he is making a decision to cut something. When you've taken damage like this, you don't know what the opponent's build is, which he has no idea, by the way. This Observer is going to be his first scouting. Let's look at his vision. He needs to see if there's a 3rd command center, which there isn't. He sees a lot of Marines, which tells him most of what he needs to know, which is, yeah, this is a 3-Rex I'm playing against him. Oh, he tries to play away from the Marines, accidentally runs into the turret. We're on MAXPAX camera there. But he skipped the Forge. So it's back to the earlier point, guys. What has MAXPAX skipped? It's the Forge. His Forge is, you know, going down now, but it's not been a super. Normally you try to speed that up with like Colossus and stuff. In this case, he realizes, look, I can't do everything at once. I've taken damage early. I've got 2 full bases, the main and the 3rd, which is the natural. And then this mineral line, I'm trying to get this mineral line full while defending and buying time. He's got a hallucination that's going to come in the main. He's trying to confirm right now. He's like, is there a 3rd command center? And he sees there's no 3rd command center in here. So unless it's somewhere at the front, which it's not, he knows the push is coming. The Stalkers are ready to deal with it. First Colossus is about to be out. Sorry for looking away at that moment, guys. He did get a Marine before it got in the bunker. First Colossus is out. Second's on the way. Oh, good stim forward for Cure. And actually, MAXPAX does lose only 1 Stalker. Gets himself another Marine and the stim. As long as he doesn't lose anything else. Should get a few more Stalkers to the front, though. 3 Stalkers can't really slow this push down. Charge is done, though. When you're on 4 gates with a 5th and 6th coming in, you've got a 2nd Colossus coming out. I actually feel like MAXPAX is really well set up to defend this push in terms of tech. It's just the numbers are scary, right? But it's a very Marine-heavy numbers for Cure, his army. It's only 4 Marauders, 2 tanks in the mix. Those are good anti-Colossus units. The army needs to come forward. MAXPAX needs to fight this, but at the same time, you can see Cure's like, I have the numbers, bro. Second Colossus needs to come forward. He's going to get a pretty far forward siege up on the tank. The Zealot's going to go in here, going to try and click on that, but MAXPAX going for the tank maybe a bit too much. Does roast a lot of these Marines, but he loses all of his sentries and stalkers. One tank still standing. If he got rid of both tanks, that would have been an amazing trade for MAXPAX, but as it is, there is still a tank here. There is still a sort of anchor, a long-range unit that says you can't poke and prod. You can't abuse your range advantage because Colossus have 9 range Marauders, 6 Marines, 5. Normally, Protoss can poke and prod, but because the tank is there with 13 range, it makes it harder to do that. And Kua wisely picks up, pulls back. He's going to rotate his army to the south. He's going to come back in, try and snipe this Robo while dropping the main. MAXPAX knows about it, though. He anticipates that Stalkers are up in the north. That early Hellion run by really has set up Kua for success in this game. Just look at the numbers he's got, and now that he's making it a bit messy, it really feels like he's getting some very good trades, but oh, he gets caught out. Okay, does get caught out on the south side, loses quite a few units. That Zealot does see the rally of Bio as well. Kua's going to pull back because of this sort of emergency situation he finds himself in. And a lovely double drop, including Widowmine in the main base. Stalker does take out a Stalker. No, the Widowmine, sorry, does take out a Stalker, but it doesn't. The Stalker actually blinks away. The probe's not running, though. MAXPAX not running his probes, and he does take 4 more probes to that Widowmine at the tail end of it. So 13 probes go down. A very successful drop there for Kua. At the same time, it does look like a single Zealot's in the base. And actually stabbed a Marine down. Damn. Don't see a Zealot run into the Terran base and kill a Marine or 2 every day. I think that's the same Zealot that was running across the map earlier. Warp Prism's finally coming in as well as Templar Archives. The longer MAXPAX holds on, you'd think, well, the better chance as he's the favored player. But he needs a 4th Nexus for that to be true. Q has done such a good job of keeping him on the ropes. And look at the units lost tab. 1,200 resources better trading. And this all comes down to the Stalkers and the Sentries going down. That push got across the map so early. And MAXPAX just wasn't quite ready. You know, if he actually skipped his Forge entirely to get up like 6-gate Zealot a bit earlier, he might have been able to crush that push. Keep the Sentry Stalker alive, and actually delaying the Forge longer, I think, was the play. Even though it feels terrible to have your +1 already this late, even. But I mean, I don't think he even started it straight away because he was busy with the push anyway. So I think hindsight's 2020. We can see everything. It's a messy early game. It's hard to judge in the heat of the moment, but I think hindsight, that's what he should have cut. Just delayed that Forge another 45 seconds to a minute. Colossus engaging pretty well here. Doesn't have a lot of Stalkers to focus down those Vikings, though, remember, and he's got to be careful about losing those. The Vikings, did any go down? 1 Viking went down. Zealots on the left run in. MAXPAX trying to be aggressive. He's taking a 4th in the middle as well, but look at that. The double drop's still up there, and that's going to force a recall from MAXPAX. Loses an Observer, does clump his army to recall, picks up with the Prism to do a drop of his own, and just 4 probes, forces a recall. That's all Kua needs. Kua's pretty solid at home. That being said, I say he's pretty solid. Yeah, he's got double engineering bay armory. Does he have a 4th command center or a Ghost Academy? 4th command center starts now. No sign of ghosts on the map. Ghost Academy will probably go down in the next 30 seconds. This Kua does have a big gas bank. He can definitely afford them. Oh, no, Kua. Oh, he tries to send the drop home, but Stalkers are there. He was distracted by the Warp Prism that ran into his main. Killed 4 SCVs, and it got an F2 out of him, didn't it? It got an F2 out of him. He F2'd to defend this because his army was not control grouped at home, which is pretty standard for a Terran at this stage. You know, you're not always control grouping your army. Zerg and Protoss, a bit more consistent because they can warp in a round of units, add them to control group all as part of one action. But with Terran, you got to wait for these units to just incrementally kind of drip out of your production and gather up at your rally point. 2-2's on the way, though. He's got a 4th command center. The Viking count's building. I think this has been really good, though, for MAXPAX because now he's got the 4th up. He's got his +2 coming out. You know, he's bought himself some time. He's got a good army. He's just got to stay active with these Zealot run-bys and things, but bunker prepared on that base. And the next fight's going to be very decisive. 13 Stalkers, enough to take these Vikings down. And the most important part is how this engagement goes, right? Can you get rid of the Vikings and keep some Colossus alive? Will the Disruptor shots land? First Disruptor shot's a bit early, and it's Disruptors! What are we doing, MAXPAX? Oh no, he leaves his Disruptors hanging out! Huge mistake there for MAXPAX. Kua pounces. Kua does not need any more invitation than that. The Vikings are going to take out 1 Colossus. They go a bit far forward, but they will get a 2nd one, which I think is absolutely worth it. That is their entire job. And if you sacrifice a bunch of Vikings, but you get rid of all the Colossus, Terran's always happy with that, because your bio will do very well once there's no Colossus left on the field. Ghost Academy coming in, ship weapons, 2-2 as well. MAXPAX would desperately like to get a 5th base up at this stage, as Terran floats out a 4th. You want to be at least 1 base ahead as Protoss. But MAXPAX, not only is he not 1 base ahead, he's also down 2,500 resources in the trading. And I say 2.5, and that's because I'm bad at numbers. That's over 3,500. Me no good with numbers. 2nd Robo coming in. 2 more gases to go to 6 gas. I love armor here, guys. It's a much quicker upgrade and cheaper than going for +3 attack. So, you know, people always say, oh, isn't attack better? And it's like, arguably, yeah, with a Colossus army, sure. But guess what? You've lost most of your Colossus. Your Zealots and whatnot are making up a bigger and bigger part of your army. Attack does not help Disruptors or Storm. So going for the quicker, cheaper upgrade that's going to massively improve the survivability of those Zealots. Very, very important. Second Forge comes in as well, which you can start adding with the +3 attack as well. MAXPAX still trailing in the supply, but he's up 10 workers with a 5th base on the way. I feel like if he just chronos Disruptors 2 or now 3 at a time, as he's got a 3rd Robo coming up, he should be unkillable. And the longer he drags this out, should be really nice for him. Nice Force Fields, gets a few Marauders there. Tank on the high ground, though, does make it a bit awkward to engage. I like that tank. Little drop in the top bottom right. A few Zealots warping in to help deal with that. Dark Shrine is on the way. Got ourselves the late game. Second starport on the reactor. 8 racks coming up. I think he's got +1 ship weapons as 3/3 start. So I think we need to see that Fusion Core for Cure. He builds 2 more command centers right now. Probably orbitals. And there we go. Fusion Core does go down, yeah. Because if he can get lib range, start pumping libs here, have +2 and lib range finishing around the same time, you're going to suddenly have the ultimate siege unit that makes it very hard for a ground-focused Protoss to deal with you. If MAXPAX adds Storm, if he potentially adds a few Tempests later on, if he starts counter-attacking with big packs of Dark Templar, these are all the things he can do for the late game as well. But he's not, you know, he's on 80 workers now, but he's just got there, and he's still probing, which is actually very dangerous. I think probing this late in the game is incredibly dangerous, because at this stage, you're not going to have time for those probes to pay for themselves. So, yeah, you're taking base number 6, you will stop at 83 probes. Your army supply is going to be a bit smaller than you'd like, as this tank just enjoys the shooting gallery. 5 command centers on the way. Q is gearing up for late game. Kind of worry that he's given MAXPAX too much time to recover. I mean, Q is not bad in the late game by any means. He's a very methodical player. But it just feels to me like the later it goes, the harder it is to put down a Protoss player. It takes a lot of finesse, a lot of speed and skill in those engagements. And while Q is very good, will he be a match for MAXPAX? I don't know. I don't think MAXPAX has ever really been the late game god, guys. As much as we talk about how good MAXPAX is, he's a mid-game player who excels in playing the mid-game. He does not play a lot of late game in any matchup, right? In ZVP, he falls off a cliff in late game. We've seen him dominating Cyril multiple times, and then Cyril just claws it back because MAXPAX just sits on 4 or 5 bases and never really gets the 6th and doesn't quite make the full transition into the endgame army and the cannons and the batteries and the storms and the slowly chipping at his opponent. You know, MAXPAX likes to move his whole army around and fight for territory and that sort of stuff. And once the game gets a bit more static and technical with lib range and you need storms and carriers, like, notice how MAXPAX has 3,000 minerals, 1,000 gas. He's not investing in those. He wants to keep it going with the movement. Instead, he's going to go for the Zealot DT up north. That's going to be his counter, his off lane, where he tries to dive bases, while this army looks to distract Cure and deal with him. Now remember, when these disruptors are empty, this army is worthless, guys. So you've got to be really sparing with how you use these disruptor shots. Very, very careful with it. Zealot DT comes up north, but great split on the army for Cure. Secures the planetaries. Look at that, dude. Unassailable positions. You need to get in there with like 30 DTs to kill that. 2 Colossus building. MAXPAX is going to go back up to 3 Colossus. Still got this army down here. Remember, he's also up 15 workers, which means 15 less army supply. Not to mention the 12 army that's in Colossus production right now. Good balls. Oh, Q has got to be careful, mate. Got to be careful. He needs these libs. He needs these libs. The libs are starting to build. Caduceus Reactor coming in, the medevac energy upgrade. He's already got the lib range and +2 ship weapons with +3 on the way. The disruptor's just clipping the Marines. We got to be careful. Remember, these disruptors are everything. Oh, great disruptor shot. He's got to retreat. It is a nice fighting retreat here for MAXPAX. Zealots coming in as well. He's got to keep falling back. He does take care of that Viking. Beautiful play by Max. He's just got to be careful because, like I said, his army is nothing, guys. It's a handful of Zealot Stalkers and 1 red hit point Colossus, but he's standing on the front with no forward reinforcing warp in point as if he is the bully in this scenario. And he does lose that Colossus. I think this is really good kind of edge of your seat PvT, keeping your opponent back even though you've only got a small army on the front, but his disruptor shots are getting exhausted, clipping that Terran army. You can see Q's dodges aren't quite on the level of, say, Clem's. They're very good, but they're not as perfect, right? He keeps getting hit by these disruptors. He's not reacting fast enough to completely avoid them. +3 ship weapons on the way. Units lost time should be going back in MAXPAX's favor, you'd think, but no. Even though the disruptors did well, the rest of his army did so bad that he's down 6,000. Planetary with a tank there. This is not a good angle to attack. I don't mind the run forward and drop like a bunch of disruptors in the mineral line. I think that's a really good tactic, and he should try to kill that siege tank, because that tank is just, it's not killing things, but it keeps damaging them, softening them up for the future, and it does feel like running 3-4 disruptors here and just hitting the planetary might be okay. But since he's shown his army there, it's a bit dangerous. Prism getting hunted down by a Liberator, one of the slowest hunts to ever exist. And there we go. Finally gets rid of that tank, roasts that mineral line. And we do have a Stargate on the way. He feels like he's forced there. You notice how he didn't choose to go to Stargate, guys? MAXPAX doesn't want to go Stargate. He's very high on minerals, very low on gas. He'd like to just spam Zealots in here, but he's only on 14 gateways, so he doesn't really have the production to do the Zealot spam. And he's got to be so careful about this situation. Zealot's going to run in south because there is no planetary down here, but the Rally and a Liberator are there, which means wise pullback. Keeps going forward, looking to pick off the SCVs from the low ground. Storm's coming in as well. I love it. Okay, MAXPAX is adding Storm. He's got a Stargate up now. He needs to think about going Fleet Beacon. Add a few Tempests as well. Disruptors out on their own. Bit crazy move. Oh, Kua jumps on top like a crazy guy and does pay a big price. But the Disruptors left out on their own. That was very sloppy for MAXPAX. Now, maybe he wanted to lose those because he's not replacing them. He replaces them with Zealots. Zealots and a Sentry. MAXPAX not replacing his Disruptors. He's only got 2 in his army. So he's sacrificing his Ground Splash. He's going to probably think about adding a few High Templar in here, which could be very effective. I think he's going for a more mobile army, perhaps. Normally, Disruptors are a pretty big part of the late game because they are such reliable splash. Oh my lord, big Disruptor shot. Those 5 Marauders barely survived. The Libs with Lib range going to be inching forward. Kua, he's getting sieged, but I think there's an argument here that he's letting MAXPAX impale himself. Because look, he's got another base coming up top. So he's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases. Yes, MAXPAX is getting some more bases up. The Lib Harass only now starting as a second Stargate Fleet Beacon. Third Stargate coming in as well. See how Kua's late game fares against MAXPAX. I think in this scenario, MAXPAX has had map control for such a long time. I worry because he's got Storm. He's not made a single High Templar. And we all know, you know, I've talked to you guys many times on this channel, you need to spread those High Templar around the map. So when Kua decides to try to jump on your army, you need High Templar coming from surprising angles to storm him. You can't just have one in your army or one coming from the front. It'll get EMP'd. But if you bring those in from multiple angles, it can be really nice. Kua dives the top side, gets a Nexus. Good denial here. MAXPAX not going to fight the army by the looks of it. He's not in the right position. Oh, he's trying to trap the retreat. Okay. Tries to stop the army from retreating there, but look at that. A bunch of Bio gets left to kill all the probes. Bio Lib's going to siege up and say, nah, you ain't getting in here. Does get a ghost with the Disruptor shot, but I think overall really well done. And look at that. Bio in the south catches a pack of Dark Templar. Good scans come down. And Kua wisely going to run away. Now, because that army recalled, I think you can hit the north again, right? Kua says, hey, wait a second. Hold on a second. And this High Templar, very exposed on its own. There's not many High Templar on this map. MAXPAX not an expert in High Templar usage in this late game scenario. He wants to be active with the army that he knows and loves, that mid-game army. Where's the Storm? Where's the Storm? Where's the Storm? Oh my gosh, he gets sniped. Doesn't even use the Storm. He's too busy focusing on the bottom right now. He's just giving up his top base. Doesn't run the probes away either. Kua just calmly positioning and waiting for MAXPAX to impale himself on Lib Planetary, and MAXPAX is gifting it to him. 12,000 resource loss difference. I mean, Kua's playing fantastic positional, methodical StarCraft. I'm just not used to a guy like MAXPAX getting out-positioned so calmly. But look at that. The Viking Lib is ruining the Colossus. The Disruptor's trying to land on top. He just picks up and then immediately unloads to dodge the Disruptor shots. There's just not enough meat and potatoes on the ground. A handful of Stalkers, 14 more Zealots are going to warp in and try to overwhelm. But fighting into those triple Lib zones just doesn't feel good, does it? The Nexus goes down, 23 workers. There is a Lib down south. Thankfully, it doesn't siege up just yet. Now it does. Zealot DT is there as well, and it feels like Kua will not be stopped. He is playing the most methodical TVP ever. And that's just how he plays Terran. You know, Kua reminds me you don't have to be a Beyond or a Clem. You can be a little bit slower, but just be a god of macro and always know exactly what you're going to do next. Follow a clear, calm, logical path. And look at that. 51 probes killed now on the tally. MAXPAX economy is in shambles. He's got a decent army, but I mean, he's got no income. Kua's on thousands of minerals and gas coming in a minute. South side, it does look like he's done some nice stutter step to escape the Zealot DT. The Libs will allow him to clean this up. And he's got turrets there as well, so he should be fine. Southern base goes down. MAXPAX getting outplayed, getting out-positioned, and just not having an answer. 20,000 resource loss difference. It's definitely tough in the late game, but I think we could see there was like, what's the game time? At 22 minutes. And MAXPAX just did not want to play to the end game. He had thousands of resources for a while. He wanted to just break in the mid game, and Kua just defended it. There were moments where the disruptors were landing, but Kua kept expanding on the other side, staying calm, defended the multi-prong really well, and it felt like a lot of players would have just left an opening, and MAXPAX would have got away with this. But Kua was so solid at turtling this up on ley lines, and I think we get to see, hey, against a guy like Kua, you might just have to embrace going that Stargate, going that Storm a lot earlier, because Kua just did such an excellent job of surviving and out-trading you. Really, really well played, and I think the upgrades especially were a decent part of that. You know, no plasma shield upgrades and no +3 armor. I don't think he ever added +3 armor. Let's just check that. Yeah, he added it eventually, but it only kicked in basically at the very end of this game. GG, well played. Kua with a huge upset. 2-0 over MAXPAX. He's back, baby.